Tell me what you want, what you really want. Oh, you want Bepro, POLK, and PDEX price analysis? All right, well, let's get after it. But before we do, returning viewers, you know the drill. Go ahead and do what the sign says. Hit like, leave me a comment down below. Even if it's LOL, you suck. You suck, you really suck. Get this crypto, whatever you want. Emoji thumbs up. It's going to help the algo so I can continue making videos for you here, especially since the market might be getting hot here. It might be altcoin season approaching after Bitcoin does a little bit of its flexing muscles first, I suppose will happen. So if you haven't watched my Bitcoin video that I just released, go watch that first, because any analysis that I do on altcoins is going to be dependent on how Bitcoin moves. So go ahead and look at that Bitcoin video first, because it's going to give you a good litmus for how my analysis for these altcoins is going to hold up. And new viewers, my channel allows you to have a better statistical understanding of what you're doing when you're clicking around with your money, so that you stop being a buyer in prayer, and you convert yourself into a profit pimp who is not scared to sell. So that's what my channel does. It helps walk you through that newer folks to crypto. So if you like what you saw by the end of the video, newer folks here, go ahead and hit subscribe, hit the bell so you can stay in the know, and let's get after it here. So Bepro, in general here, I'm going to start off with Bepro. So let's take a look at the weekly chart, take off everything but red and yellow, which my red line is the weekly 10, the yellow line is the weekly 21. So I made this projection here for a healthy higher low area. Guess what? It hit it perfectly, right? Usually does. It's usually a 45-degree angle. It's not that hard of a guess. It almost always happens. Now, for returning viewers, make sure you raise your hand. He's respectful because I have COVID. Now, you don't have to raise your hand. You can yell at the screen and say, I know the answer. I have a question for you. Okay, so with these weekly chart EMAs on here, what do you think that I'm thinking right now? What's my first most important observation here in terms of price action, passing, touching, whatever these lines? Here's what I'm thinking. At a big downturn, you got too hot too fast with no respect for the weekly 21 and 10. My rule of thumb, for a healthy move that is sustainable, you have to respect these lines, period. There just really isn't any way around that. There are sometimes, but it almost never happens. It's statistically not a safe bet to say, hey, I can just go straight above those lines and not come back and touch them. That is a losing bet, right? So what's happening right now is a lot of times you can come down and respect it from the top, right? Or you can fly past, come back below, and respect it from below, which is what Bepro is doing. So let's take the count here. So after you flew past without giving regard and respecting the EMAs there, the weekly 10 and 21, you came back down. This one doesn't count. So you had one closure above the 21. You had a second closure respecting it from below, and a third candle, which we have a whole week left. So this candle doesn't even count yet. And this one doesn't count because it went too far below, right? So if one goes too far below, I would need to see 4 or 5 weeks, including this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This week is only a day old. So I would say that Bepro probably will not pass this origin line here of a penny until the week after next. So that could be 3 weeks out because this candle is only a day old, right? So what I'm seeing with Bepro is some pretty healthy price movement. It's coming back to show respect towards these lines from below, which really could produce a pretty serious breakout and take, Bepro closer to all-time highs. It really, really could. You would probably get some hesitation around here, right? So between here and there, probably get a little hesitation, but this is a good setup for long-term price action for Bepro. This is looking pretty good. All right, but I think it needs more time. So if you're a big Bepro fan, which I know a lot of you are, because that's how my channel started. I was the first YouTuber to regularly cover Bepro and MTV. So I'm pretty familiar with this price action if I can catch my breath here. But so this is looking good, but you're gonna need to set realistic expectations for your Bepro here, right? So this candle needs to close somewhere strong where it is now. That would give you 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks. Then you have another 4th week close, maybe up as close to 1.1 cents, and it would be crossing these lines. And then after that, you will need to get a weekly closure above 1.4 cents. You need a weekly close above here, and then you're going to blast off. So this week has a whole week left, so this is 1 week, so 6 more days. Can you see the ticker over where my cursor is? It says 6 days left, all right? So 6 days, 13 days. So we need to wait 13 days, and maybe even up to 20 days for you to get a closure above 1.4 cents. So this would take you to the end of October. And I think the last week of October could see price really starting to fly up. So around the first week of November, last week of October is when I think things are going to start getting hot for Bepro. And so specifically, the week of October 18th is the week I am rooting for, or I would take a guess, that Bepro closes a weekly candle above this consolidation area. All right, so those are my time frame expectations for Bepro. Now, look, we've already waited long enough. That is not much time. So, I mean, just take a look. How long have we been waiting? All right, so since this downturn, we've been waiting 140 days. Okay, what is 21 more days? It's nothing. And this is going to produce some very, very, very healthy, a very healthy base for Bepro to have respected this line from the way on the way up in order to set all-time highs. And I think that could happen in November. So Bepro November all-time highs is completely possible, and it could be fairly early November, because once you get a closure above here, you could get some pretty massive weeks. It might not take that long. It might be late November when you're breaking all-time highs, and it might happen just after Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs. But we've been waiting long enough, and all-time highs for Bepro is going to be glorious. All right. Now, just one thing here. Just know that I think there's going to be a limit to how fast. There's going to be a speed limit. All right. So the speed limit for Bepro, as my community, I've already let my community know about this, but I think the speed limit is going to be this line right here. It's not an origin line, but it's similar to the line I had drawn where I knew that this was the top, and I recommended to everybody at that time, because I don't think I had a Patreon community at that time. On March 16th, I said, hey, let me turn off my alarm so that doesn't happen again. I said, hey, profit taking is a winning strategy right now. And so, this might be the speed limit. However, every time it hits this line here, it might not be the best time to take profits necessarily, because it might just write it and then consolidate, write it. I'm not saying necessarily that's 100%, like statistically perfect time to take profits. However, I want to show you the speed limit with which Bepro can go. I don't think it's going to pass that line. All right. However, the good thing about that is, let's say that the bull run goes until May. Okay. So if it really does keep this speed limit, that still allows for Bepro to be over. Now, I'm not saying I think Bepro is going to hit over $1 this bull run. I'm not necessarily saying that. Okay, because my target for end of bull run is around 70 cents or so, 30 to 70 cents. And I made this guess, in August. However, that speed limit, what I'm saying is, it allows for Bepro to be over $1 by May of 2022. I'm not saying I think that will happen. Let me be clear. I'm not saying I think that is statistically likely. Rather, the speed limit allows for it. It's baked into that speed limit cake that it is possible. Does that make sense? So don't be, so I need you to know what that speed limit means. Okay? So not passing it is perfectly fine, because it still would allow for Bepro to hit over $1 by May. Okay? Even though I don't think that's totally probable, but it allows for it. All right, I said it like 5 times, so hopefully I reduced comments. Oh, you said over $1, right? So I'm actually targeting Bepro to hit somewhere around this box, something like that by end of bull run, if it goes until May, which that's my guess for now. I'm just guessing May, just a little bit longer than a 4-year cycle. Honestly, it could be a lot longer than that. So, which would be good, because the price would continue to go higher. So that's what I got. So be patient with Bepro. I think all-time highs are baked in Bepro's equation for potentially mid-November. That's as long as Bitcoin stays strong. So again, you're gonna have to keep up on my Bepro video, or on my Bitcoin videos as well. You can't just watch. If you're an altcoin fan, you have to follow. You have to be good with your understanding of Bitcoin price movement, right? So that's why I make Bitcoin videos, even though I'm more of an altcoin nerd, right? Altcoin fan and all that stuff. And just in case you didn't know, I typically like altcoins so I can acquire more Bitcoin, really. So here we go. Let's go to PDEX and POLK, which honestly, these have really, POLK and PDEX are behaving really nicely, folks. All right, so let's take a look at POLK. All right, this was a downside target if Bitcoin went down into the 30s or whatever, which I don't think is going to be happening at this point. However, take a look at this. Look how much respect. Look at all this respect on the weekly chart of POLK for that 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not counting that one. Not counting that one. 5, 6, 7. We're working on our 8th week of respect. I mean, this is like, you know, Far East Asian culture, like, you know, lots of bows, high in Japanese culture, whatever. This is a ton of respect. This is so much respect. Like looking down, not looking that line in the eye, just respecting the crap out of it. This is awesome. So POLK has put in its time. It has held its strength, and it is respecting it from below. And came above, respecting it from below again. What it might be waiting for is for the weekly 21 to get a little closer. But I think that when POLK closes any week, so here's your key for when POLK is going to take off, right there. When POLK can close a week above that, it's probably going to fly. I'm not going to give you upside sell targets or anything, so I reserve that for my community, but I think it could really, really take off. So that price level for when, you know, you can expect POLK to really fly is a weekly closure above about 62 cents. It's got to be it's actually a little under 62. Let's zoom in and actually get a better figure here. So it'll fly 61.29 cents. So let me put POLK to fly after weekly closure above, what did I say, 61.29, was that it? Yep, 61.29. So, I mean, that's really all you need to be looking at on POLK, because it is put in its time. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. I mean, just look out. Let me go to a lower chart here with no EMAs on. I mean, just look at this. Look how beautifully and just how much strength it has in consolidation here. This is really setting itself up for a powerful move, folks. This is set up really beautifully. So if you haven't looked into POLK, you know, I want you to know that I do own this asset. I don't own very much of it. I don't have very much, so I'm not going to become rich off of people watching this video and buying it. Because I have my altcoins pretty spread thin. I'm more into Dash at this time and my staking. This is awesome. So if you're a POLK fan, its time is coming. Its time is coming, but you need to wait for that weekly closure above 61.29 cents. All right, that's really all I got for POLK. I don't see a lot of downside targets for this. Even if Bitcoin heads back down to 40K, it's probably going to stay in the range because it already has. Bitcoin, you know, going down to 40K and POLK stayed in the range. This asset is ready to move. It is ready. All right, so let's go to PDEX. Almost the same thing for PDEX. So PDEX had a bigger range at the beginning of its life, but look, it's cut that range in half. It stayed above the middle of it. So it is consolidating higher now, and it has put in a darn good amount of time. 46 days. So PDEX is looks like it's ready to go as well. Let's go to the weekly chart on PDEX, see what's happening there. So it is respecting this line from both the bottom and the top, which honestly could be even better here. So it flew past with no respect. See how it didn't respect it? So here's this rule, like it just works. I don't know why, but it's the most basic rule and that works. I mean, with just a huge percent. So if you ever see your asset go below the weekly 10, fly above, you can just bet your bottom dollar with a high statistical probability for Pokemon cards, all that stuff, Pokemon card trading, all that stuff, not financial advice. You can bet your bottom Pokemon card dollar that it's going to come back, touch it, and land it. So here we go, or at least respect it, and maybe even go back below it, which it is now. So you have 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We're on our 5th week of respecting this from the top, coming down from the top. This is awesome. So it has put in its time. It's met my rule. It's just waiting on Bitcoin. Now, when will this break out? I would say you have a high probability of a breakout after a week closes above this line at $24.40, but it's already done that. So it might need to close just a little higher. So let me stretch this out just a little bit here. It might need to close a week above this line right here at $25.03. $25.06. So I will put and I will make it more obvious which line that is by going like this. There you go. Oh, and look how PDEX also came down in my projection as well. So go down to an hourly chart so you can see a little better. Oh no, it actually hasn't hit it yet, which might indicate a little bit more sideways movement here. Yeah, it's probably going to hit it. Almost definitely going to hit it, but I guess PDEX might have a little bit more time into it. Let's see here. It's probably going to be about the same time frame as POLK. It would give it, 20 more days or so. So let's take off the EMAs. So what's probably going to happen here, in order to hit this projection, it can come up and play around, but it can just keep going sideways, stay in the range, and that's only 13 days away. That's 2 weeks. And then you can move up here, then you can get your breakout, and that could be October as well. So PDEX is almost ready. I think it needs to hit this projection because, similar to my weekly rule of thumb, usually you need that 45-degree angle to create a good higher low, and you don't have to do it by going down. You can do it by going straight sideways, which is actually even more bullish. You gotta get down to get up, but within getting down, you can just go sideways for a while too. I mean, you can also, I guess, instead of you gotta get down to get up, you can also gotta get sideways to get up, and that's perfectly healthy as well. So I think this has another 2 to 3 weeks in it before it visits the top of this range, and maybe a 4th week when a weekly closes above that line, and then you could fly. So what would that look on the weekly? So 1, 2, 21 days. Yep, about the same as POLK. 21 days, then your breakout, and I think that would be the earliest that it's going to break out. So that would be the 1st week in November. I could see a pretty nice breakout here. All right, and even if Bitcoin goes down back to 40K, I think it's going to stay with this range because it already has. Bitcoin's already gone down to 40K, and PDEX stayed in here. So my downside targets are really sideways targets. Now, if Bitcoin totally gets demolished here, which is very unlikely at this point, and again, you need to watch my Bitcoin video to have a better, to be able to put a grain of salt on this. But this only needs about a month, folks. And I think this project has a lot going for it here. It's spent its whole life, besides this dip, obviously, in a big range. Like, it's just a massive consolidation, and it could really, really get moving here. So I have some pretty high hopes for this asset as well. And again, I own a little bit of this, not very much. If viewers start pouring into this right away, which I still think it has 3 to 4 weeks left. So, nothing special is going to happen to me because I don't have a lot of this. I'm trying to, as a YouTube content creator, I'm trying to stay a little farther away from, incentivizing myself to talk about altcoins, and I'm holding much, much less of them. And I'm trying to move more into Dash and spot trading Dash without leverage to try to get up to 500 Dash or something. Started off with 80. I've been dollar cost averaging. So that's my goal. Just so you know, as a YouTuber, I'm not trying to create large incentive for myself to cover altcoins. I'm moving out of altcoins or smaller alts like this for the most part, and moving more into things that aren't going to help me as I make these videos. So that's my target. So if you liked what you saw here today and you're new, go ahead and stop what you're doing. Hit like, leave me a comment and subscribe. Hit that bell so you can stay in the know, so you can time this stuff. And that's what I help. That's what I help everybody do, is have a better statistical understanding of what they're doing when they're clicking around with your money. And y'all just got Timified, and I'm glad I didn't cough on you too much during this, and we'll see you next time.